Up next is the Keynote Fireside chat between Dr. Ram Charan, Global Business Advisor and Leadership Coach, and Amol Dete, Editor, ETCFO, on the topic Race Against Time, Sustainability and Future of Finance. Please take the conversation ahead, Amol. Over to you, gentlemen.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to see you in large numbers. Honestly, I'm thrilled to have someone who's a guiding force for India Inc. for more than 4 decades. India Inc. leaders, CEOs, and CFOs and decision makers look forward to his guidance. He must have trained thousands of business heads around the globe. He's a best selling author and global advisor to CEOs and corporate boards. We couldn't think of someone better than him for the ETCFO Leadership Summit. Let me welcome Shri Ram Charan. Sir, glad to have you. So, to begin with, we are talking about the leadership here in the ETCFO Leadership Summit. Our theme is Race Against Time and the Future of Finance. We are going to talk about the sustainability. My basic and first question to you, sir, is how is the leadership changing in the virtual world?
Thank you. First, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I'm honored to be able to be invited and express some thoughts. As you know, none of us, including myself, have all the answers. It's a viewpoint. And the leadership here, if you're looking from the viewpoint of the CEO, CFO, and the top team, it has changed in a major way. It has to go beyond delivering the financial performance. It has gone beyond just delivering a product. It is now customer centricity. It is now use of AI, treat each customer individually and treat each employee individually. Personalization is central. And you alone can't really win. You need to have an ecosystem. That's not enough. It's now pay attention to external factors like sustainability, like cybersecurity, like the tensions arising between major powers like China, United States. We have China and India tensions are arising. So the job of the CEO and the CFO is to know these factors, find the right balance, have clear priorities. It must deliver the financial results better than the competition, but at the same time must be balancing the interests of the selected stakeholders, create a long-term path. People devote their time, financial results annually. Many of the other factors are longer term. They take a longer time. All these efforts on ESG and sustainability, many have announced 2030, 2040, 2050. And unless you are delivering something in the short run, having the right indicators compared with competition, people lose credibility. So these are the factors which are qualitative and they need to be converted into measurable, credible actions and outcomes. That is different compared to who have been largely focused on delivering financial results.
Very well said, sir. I want you to focus more on the sustainability. That is not just the theme of our event. That is where the world is heading. As we understand that India as a country has committed to go carbon neutral by 2070, and many other countries have also made their commitments. What are the criteria that the CFO should follow going ahead? In which way they should lead their leadership to achieve the goal of whole sustainability?
Yes. Now, focusing on sustainability, there are 3 items. First, a vision, a visualization is what is meant for the company and the industry it is in, or the ecosystem that is with it. What is the vision that becomes close to carbon neutral? People have announced goals, but you have to have a vision, a viewpoint, what it really means. You may not know by what time you get there. So I am now working with a number of companies here. One of them is in chemical industry. And they're using this thing not just defensive to reduce carbon sustainability. They're now converting that into business opportunity. So they're going to be investing in the next 5 years, $500 million. And those $500 million are being allocated and designed to deal with the sustainability that it will have a 7-year payback. You announce it, you assign people. What Steve Jobs used to say, DRI, directly responsible individual. The board is fully kept informed. It is going to be reported to the shareholders. They now have the indices with MSCI and ICLN and S&P. So it is a very active thing. And you convert that into the way it should have a return. 5 years ago, roughly, Pepsi did that. They invested money, you can see the return. They changed internal processes, educated the people, changing the habits. Take it very seriously. It is not an imposition. It is an opportunity. On the boards I am on, where we have this thing, we are discussing in the board, we are evaluating the people assigned to you in the management. We are linking to their KPIs and to their incentive system. We will have a dashboard available to their board members where we see the exact what progress is being made, and more importantly, how it is being integrated to the investor relations function.
Okay, very well said, sir, and very meaningful. I'm sure the audience are enjoying your thoughts here. My immediate question, here, or the question that comes to my mind immediately, sir, here is on the obstacles front. The challenges are humongous when we are heading towards sustainability. We have to also ensure that the whole ecosystem is ready, because a CFO deals with maybe hundreds of vendors. He's building so many supply chains. So he has to first ensure whether his supply chain ecosystem is ready if he has to move towards sustainability. At the same time, he has to also ensure that the policies are in place. So these are the two immediate challenges that I see. According to you, how should CFOs deal with such challenges to overcome and achieve its goal towards sustainability and maintain the sustainable business?
Yeah. So, Amal, go to the basics first. Basic here is that for your company, number one, you map out end-to-end value chain all the way. And then see for each link, what are the sustainability issues? If you are a manufacturer of garments, apparel, the largest carbon issues in fabric. It's not in logistics. So you got to know the facts. And you got to go back to the fabric people. 41% of the carbon in that value chain is fabric. And so first do the basics study, know the facts, what they are. Number two, then you're saying that which ones we do first that helps you improve the later part of the value chain. And there for talent, you need a talent that has a convergence of domain knowledge and use of algorithms, use of data, use of digitization. And the key word is the amalgamation of the two, because the application of AI, machine learning, all those new algorithms coming out, they will make you see things you could not see before. That can change the carbon thing going out. So we now have the carbon capture technologies. They are operational now. We now have hydrogen, a fantastic company in New Delhi based. It's essentially number one. It's called Renew, RENEW. And they got these multiple ways of solar, wind, now hydrogen possibilities going forward. So the technologies are coming in, but go to the basic part of whole value chain. In the value chain, who are the ecosystems? Get facts, what are the emissions? Where are they? Which link? Which one to do first? And then if you are a chemical company, many chemical companies have multiple competitors in the same location. So you got to create the industry-wide work, because the atmosphere, if one is actually improving and the other in the same location is polluting, you're going to get nowhere. So we need a collaborative effort, and not only among competitors, but with the local government officials, so that we actually make a huge progress going forward.
Okay, valid point, sir, and I think notable one. The one question that comes to my mind now, sir, is about the 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 shift that the CFOs have made in their thinking. CFOs are generally looking at the balance sheet very aggressively. That is the integral part of their work. Fundamentally and traditionally, creating shareholders' value is an emblem for the CFO, and that's what the board also expects. Have you seen changes from the boards to CFOs in terms of focus towards sustainability?
Yeah.
Do you think that the boards are actually giving now mandate to CFOs to look at sustainability, or CFOs are trying hard to convince the board to adopt this because the cost of sustainability transformation is really huge?
Yeah.
What are your learnings here?
Yeah, I want you to know we should not underrate the CFOs. The CFO of today is much different than 5 years ago. Let the other people do the accounting and control, they can supervise it. Today's CFO is a leader, not a numbers guy in the sense that they only do the numbers. No, they are leaders, they could be CEOs one day. Having said that, the three things a CFO is going to do in addition to working with CEO and teammates and the board. And the board is going to be very much involved in the sustainability in every sense of the word. And I am on these boards where we are involved. So the CFO, number one, is going to create a framework for capital allocation that has sustainability in it. That framework will be communicated to the investors and communicated to the index people like MSCI, S&P, and so on, because they will be announced, not just financial, but the other indices. Having said that, number two is that the CFO has all the internal information, and they will be helping, leading projects in sustainability and encouraging technologists and the business unit managers to stretch their minds that while we investing that money in sustainability is what are the new ways to have a return on that equity investment. I now have companies who are doing that. It's not new. CFOs will do that. So you're doing both opportunity, shareholder value, and the sustainability part of it. All the third part is the announcement and presentations by the investor relations people will include both results, will include both announcements, both actions. It will not be one alone. It has begun.
notable points, sir. According to you now, after the pandemic, we are emerging out of pandemic now, and everybody has a different plans for its capex cycles, and people wants to go venture into new businesses. That's a hope that we are carrying right now. We are also aiming to have a more than $5 trillion economy in India. My question to you, sir, how do you see the leadership specifically from the CFO's end will change maybe in next 2 to 3 years? Will they be far aggressive in taking decisions going ahead? Because in last 2 years, all of them had a short-term plan.
One of the things the leaders are going to do, CEO, CFO, these people, they must think 10 years out and work backwards. It's not enough to think 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. Now, 10 years is not a numbers plan. 10 years is to imagine what the conditions will be, what the need will be, what the demand will be. While the example I'm going to give you is not sustainability. Everybody heard of Alexa. The original think was voice is going to make a difference in how the human beings work. Jeff Bezos imagined that will come because the technology of Siri existed long time ago. A gentleman from Lucknow, India, is the pioneer of what we see the voice today in Alexa. He invented the basics at Bell Labs. He's alive. And so Bezos and people can see it, and you work backwards. And then say, while you imagine what will be 10 years, 9 years, 12 years, what we're going to do this year, what trade-offs will we make? So here I give you some facts. If Bezos in Amazon absolutely thinks 8 to 10 years out, imagine the need, the population, demographics, and what could be the convergence of technologies. I have this in writing. Tim Cook of Apple thinks 12 years out. That's why you see all these efforts going on and work backwards. These things are not developed in 1 year. So what's new? The CFOs, to be a leader, to take the company to the future, must do both. What are you going to do this year? And what are you going to do also this year that will build you for 10 years, 9 years out? You will have some risks. Some things will not work, but you don't have much of a choice. This will differentiate a great CFO from not so great CFO.
Fabulous, sir. I think I just kept listening to you. If I summarize it well, I want you to add more to this. So let me just cross question here on what you said, so that I want to take a more perspective here on the same lines. When we look at the current, the businesses are split, maybe due to various reasons, whether it's pandemic or shared economies. There is an emergence of gig economy, the big tech's emergence, e-commerce emergence, startups are entering, and there is a storm in the CFO's world. I absolutely buy your point of 10-year strategy, thinking about the first year today. But if you could elaborate more in terms of on the background I just told you, what is that the CFO should now to stand tall? What is that they should do to emerge strongly out of pandemic?
I get that. Now, first, I want to give a full credit to the CFOs, because the ones I get to talk to, they have already been working on it. They have a horizon, a viewpoint. Pandemic is coming out. So there are 3 things. They are doing it. I'm not telling you anything new. They are very good, by the way. So I just repeat that. The first part is inflation is here. It's American-led. Some people feel it is transitory. Some people feel it's longer term. I have a view, it's a longer term. Even if I'm right, get prepared. Number 2, all the CFOs know this, is the talent shortage is real. the prices of labor, people, technical people going up, some of them more than double digit. If the CFO believes, I believe it, the inflation here minimum 3 years, the whole business model needs to be redone. End-to-end chain, your prices of raw materials, prices of shortage, talent shortage increasing. You cannot absorb all of those. So you've got to see in the value chain how you change your business model. And number 3, I believe they are leaders. They've got to be very best in communication. Internal, external, message, clarity, simplicity, and credibility. Other tasks, you have your people to report to you, have them deal with those tasks. This is now the urgency. And inflation eats more cash for the same volume. Working capital is a major issue. They know how to manage it. But 99% of the people in power today have not experienced this kind of inflation, but was in the 70s in America. The people learning about it. They're going to now turn every brick in the company for eliminating wastage. And that has to be done. Break-even point has to be reduced. Those who have very high debt, they better pay very big attention to cash flows, because cash flow is from operations in inflation is substantially low for the same volume. They got to reprioritize their capital expenditures. All these things are happening, some to more degree, some to less degree. What is not happening well is the pricing strategy. They are increasing prices, but they need to think through over a 3 to 5 year basis how this needs to change. Because if you are a consumer company, you can't afford to lose the trust of the consumer. Brand. You don't make your product cheaper for the same price, you will lose brand. You got to innovate, put features in, have the same price or higher, and have a better productivity so that your trust in the brand are with the customer, and you crank up your machine of adding features of the right kind that the customers will value. Fooling the customers is not a good idea. Today, more transparency, more social media. Go to work, get your product development people with you, and say, we are not going to cheapen the project and keep the same price.
Thank you for adding that point, sir. I think that's a great one. And let me take a liberty to ask you one more question on the same lines. And that's my last question, sir. And it would be great if you could respond on that. Considering inflation that you said will stay here for longer, the Indian regulator RBI had a different view on it, but many other regulators are looking at inflation very, very seriously. What kind of worst impact do you see of inflation on the businesses? At the same time, what will be the impact on the business of the whole geopolitical issues? We are in the midst of the Ukraine and the Russia and the USA crisis. We do not know how will it pan out. Already there is a pressure on the oil prices, and already export-import trade war has started. So how do you see these challenges on the whole businesses going ahead?
Yeah, I think here's something people don't use. Psychology of the players in this game. Psychology is the driver where inflation becomes hyperinflation. Example, if a consumer believes that the price will increase, they will buy a lot and hoard it. Same thing for businesses. Same thing for regulators. If they expect the prices will increase, they want to do something. So the key point is psychology needs to be informed what the people actions, what they anticipate, what they don't. Now, we come to your basic question. Shortage of certain materials is going to be here for 3 years. It's not coming yet. Oil prices controlled by a handful of people. There's no other way. You got to expect what they do. If a war breaks out, which it could happen, there is no way I could tell you it will or it will not. So it has a psychological effect on commodities, but also has a real effect on the price of commodities. So here then psychology comes. Somebody says, I think the war will break out, so I hoard, get it ahead of time. And that creates a cycle. This is the uncertainty you're looking for. For the regulators, RBI, Federal Reserve, they've got to be steady about it, because what they do is usually magnified across the globe. They got to get some facts right from the ground continuously, see what's happening in the behavior, and then have a steady hand to take the actions. So here, if you look at defensive, remember the cash. Cash is king here. You really got to get the discipline of cash and its allocation. If you are highly indebted, you got to watch this very carefully, because liquidity crisis kills a company. You got to go. Until something better happens, you got to focus more. You may be a smaller company. The market will value, not on growth, will value how you manage cash and how you earn margin and how you keep brand. They will value on 3 bases.
Fabulous point, sir. I'm done with my questions. I must say it was amazing to listen to you. The points that you raised, I think the facts that you shared, and the guidance that you offered, the audience will certainly love it. Thank you so much for taking out time and sharing your thoughts here. Thank you so much, sir.
I'm honored to be here, and thank you. Great questions. This whole sustainability is really at a very early stage. We got to go with a steady thinking, thorough. We own it because we will have, not in my lifetime, a recycling planet. That's the key answer. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ram Charan and Amol, for those leadership lessons. It was such a knowledge-enriching discussion. Let's move on to the next session.